Hello. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run Live, episode number 393. What I wanted to talk with you about today is a little bit on the topic of failure. So, what you may have seen happen over the last, particularly like the last week, is I've been asking very humbly and very graciously, very nervously for help with some introductions to some well-known musicians that I'm able to interview for part of my research for Into the Spotlight. Now, what I wanted to share with you is a little bit on good morning. As you're coming in, please say hey, let me know that you can hear me. That would be really amazing. I guess I wanted to let you know a little bit, hi Mana, a little bit about the thinking that's gone on behind this, and I suppose why I'm doing this, because I think it's a big thing. I guess I've been thinking about this book has been sitting in the recesses of my mind. Good morning, Tony. Sitting in the recesses of my mind for the last 18 months. I mapped it out. I knew exactly what I was going to write about for this we're talking about Into the Spotlight. And I had this idea going back 18 months ago, maybe even 2 years ago. Hey, Jazz, great to see you. To interview some musicians. Now, for a really long time. So this is like the middle of 2018 that I was like, right, I just had the copies of Visible in my hand. We started doing some PR work for it. And I'm like, you know what, I can write something that's better, that's more in depth, that's perhaps a bit more robust and things like that. And so I started plotting and planning Into the Spotlight. I didn't know it was going to be called Into the Spotlight yet, but I was pretty sure it would be something along those lines. Good morning, Michaela. So one of the things I suppose that I was thinking about was I wanted to interview some well-known musicians. Now, in my head, I was thinking like iconic Australian bands, right? And the lead singers of these bands. Good morning, Carmen. Hey, Tamara. And the reason behind that, if you think about what we need to do as entrepreneurs who are service-based professionals, okay? So you have to be the face of your brand, your business. We're not hiding behind a coffee cup product. We're not hiding behind a tech product. You are your business. You are your brand, whether you're doing it one-on-one, whether you're doing it in groups, whether you're doing it in corporate. You are your brand. And it takes a lot, right? Hey, Lizzie, it takes a lot for you to step up and into the spotlight when there is a lot of things that could go wrong. There's a myriad of things that could go wrong. When we put ourselves out there, there's a whole lot of fear around rejection, around our peers looking at us, not understanding, making fun of us, us not fitting in, us not being liked. Worse than that, our audience is not liking us, and this, that, and the other. So I was like, you know, what better? You know, who do we know that that steps out into the spotlight and has to perform like they've got no choice? And to me, it's like rock stars, you know, amazing musicians, these bands. Hey, Shan, and you know, they have to show up. They have to turn it on. Like they've got an audience to sing to. They've got an audience to play to. And so I was like, this just seems kind of like the perfect thing. I talk about Into the Spotlight with how music has influenced my life, and it's a huge part of my world, as it is for many of us. And I think that one of the things that I was thinking about 18 months ago was like, right, you know, what better way to demonstrate for you what processes, what tools these artists have in their toolbox to be able to step up and out and do what needs to be done. Because if you can understand and be like, okay, well, like I know this person has done this and I know this person can do that, then, you know, maybe I could use some of that. I could use that tip. I can use that technique. I can use that way of anchoring. I can use this way of visualizing. I can do this and I can do that. And if it helps you to get up and out of yourself and step into your spotlight, then that's really fucking powerful. But you guys, I've been sitting on this for 18 months, right? I started writing this book, properly writing this book, maybe a couple of months ago. maybe slightly longer than that now. And it's been ticking along. It's been doing really well. And I got to the point at the start of last week where I'm like, Nick, actually, I was doing the self-edit of the manuscript. And I was like, Nicola, you know, you had this idea about filtering, like I've filtered music analogies and everything like that right through the whole book. But I realized that I'd sold myself a little bit short, right? I had this moment of going, you had this idea of interviewing some well-known artists. Why the fuck haven't you done that? And it made me think that the reason that I didn't do it was because I was shit scared of being rejected, right? It sounds silly to even say it out loud. But I was really scared of being rejected. I was really worried about going out and approaching these musicians and saying, hey, I feel like what it feels like for me is like I'm this little girl who lives in regional Australia, a tiny little country town. I've got this amazing freaking online business helping, you know, thousands of people around the world, and that's great. I'm writing a book, and would you be willing to be interviewed by me? Like nobody, right? And I felt like I didn't have anything to really offer in return. And you know, that element is still a little, like I still feel that somewhat. You know, I know that like they've got, most of them have got tens, if not hundreds of thousands of fans and followers, if not into the millions. And it's kind of like, oh, you know, what have I got to give? And for me, the way that I was thinking about it, and that was the reason why I hadn't approached anyone. And I was like, I don't just want to cold message people. That feels really random. And maybe they think that I'm going to be a fucking freak and like some weird stalker person if I go and message their page. I'm like, fuck. And it was this fear of failure, right? It was this fear of rejection. It was this fear of, well, like they might not respond. That they might look and just go like, you know, so what? She's got like a reach of 50,000 people. Like, yeah, that's great. But what I was thinking about was there's a Michael Jordan quote that very famous, and it's the title of the Coffee Run today, which is, you know, I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. And that really hit home for me. Last week, I thought, you know, shit, I advocate to you guys all the time to try to put yourselves out there, and know that you're going to fuck up, that you know that you're, you know, people might not respond, people might reject you, but, you know, onwards and upwards, and it's going to be great, and you're going to be fine, and you know what, it doesn't matter, the people who love you will love you, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to swallow my own pill. I need to take my own advice, motherfucker. And so I was talking to my husband on a walk last week, and we were chatting about this and chatting about the book and the edit and stuff like that. Oh, Shannon, you're gorgeous. Thank you. She said, you are not a no one. You're awesomeness. Mwah, I love you. Thank you. And I suppose like the conversation that Dom and I had, he's like, you should message Robbie Williams. And I'm like, okay. I said, you know what? I will do that. I said, but you know, if he says yes, I'm dead. Like I'm dead. So I hadn't, right? I got a level with you guys. I put the shout out last week, I think on Thursday actually. I said, hey, and if anybody knows any high profile, well-known musicians, please let me know. I really, really highly value an introduction. Please and thank you. Talking about the psychology of stepping into your performance and that kind of thing. And I guess like the conversation with Dom is like, you should just do it. Like you don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. And so I did it yesterday. And I've messaged a whole bunch of people. So I've messaged Jimmy Barnes, I've messaged Guy Sebastian. Who else have I messaged? Robbie Williams, Tones and I, Lizzo, Amy Shark, Brian May, you know, fucking queen. And part of the reason, you know, I interviewed Adam Thompson yesterday of Chocolate Starfish fame, which was really cool. Had a couple of confirmations come through last night for a really amazing, another amazing Australian band who are doing really, really well. Had that confirmation come through overnight last night, so I'm really excited about that. And another well-known American singer in the country sort of folk area. She won an award in the UK for Best International Song earlier on in the year, so really excited to interview her as well. And I think the thing for me, hey Geordie, is our self-talk can be really tricky and sneaky, right? If I'd never put that shadow, because I don't like asking for help, right? I think this is the thing. Like, I don't like asking for help, and it's not because I don't like asking for help. It's just I don't like to feel like I'm imposing on people's time or on people's connections, you know. And I think the other thing is like I want to feel like I've got something to give. And the way that I frame this is that for anybody who says yes, then, you know, I'm number one, they get my eternal gratitude. And of course I'm going to promote them and their fabulousness and write about them in the book and, you know, all of that. But I also like to think of it like if I was approached by someone, and this has happened actually, if I was approached by someone now, and you know what, I've got a pretty good following across the board. If somebody that was brand new said, you know what, I want to vomit by asking you this, but I can't not ask you this, you know, can I interview you? I'd be like, fuck yeah, like let's do it. And part of that, like the part of that thing for me is like I was thinking about it in terms of again like a musical analogy, right? A band analogy, and I was thinking, you know, these people, they like we're all wanting, or we all need a leg up, right? We all need a break. We all need something that's going to be helpful. And I think from that perspective, you know, if people are approaching me, then, you know, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to help in any way, shape or form that I can, because it could be the break that sets you up. It could be the thing that, you know, that I don't know, that inspires somebody else. And, you know, to me, it's like, it costs you nothing. And so from my perspective, I'm like, well, you know, that's great for me with my view of the world. But you're right, Shan. So many people get a kick out of helping others. And that was kind of like my thinking. It's like, I just hope that some of these musicians and these artists are excited about inspiring other people and motivating other people like I am to be the best versions of themselves, to chase their dreams, to throw themselves out there, to fail 10 times, but pick yourself up 11 times. And I love how Brené Brown talks about it, like with showing up in the arena. And again, to make it relevant to you guys and for me, it's like, you know, if I was unwilling to throw myself out there, really vomity, really, you know, coming from a place of like, holy shit, they're either going to read my stuff and completely reject me, which is not really rejection, right? Like in the scheme of things, if people read something and they say no, it is not rejection. Right? We make it up to mean rejection, but it's not rejection. It's just them exercising their choice to say yes or to say no. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's not a reflection of you. It's not your husband rejecting you. It's not your wife rejecting you. It's just like, okay, cool. You know, that's fine. They don't want to do that. That's totally fine. But for me, I guess like what I was thinking about was, you know, Brené Brown talks about getting in the arena. And you know, the thing that I call on you guys to do every single day is to get in that arena. That if I was unwilling to do the very thing really that I'm asking of you, then I'm completely out of integrity. You know, I'm completely out of the whole thing that I preach and cajole and educate on and all of this kind of stuff on a daily basis. Like, you've got to get into the arena. You've got to be willing to get freaking dirty. You've got to be willing to you know, stand up and fight and fall down and fail. And, you know, it sucks when you feel like you're excited about something and it doesn't work. But what it does is it gives you a way of going, okay, wow, that was interesting. Why did it not work? What can I do differently? And, get the fuck back up. The only time you actually really fail, if you think about it, is if you leave the arena, right? You're like, okay, I'm done. And, maybe that's not failure. Maybe that's just you exercising your choice and decisions around that. But yeah, that feels like that's what I needed to share with you today, was you've got to be willing to just freaking try, right? It might not work, but what if it does? There was this post that I put up last week. I'm like, all right, well, what if nobody responds? I thought I'd feel like a bit of a douche. Like, for a start, feel like a bit of a douche. But that's not what happened. But oftentimes what we decide is we won't do something because we're playing out the worst case scenario in our heads. But what if the worst case scenario never freaking comes? The conversation I had with Adam yesterday, and you all know that I am a huge believer in energy. I'm a huge believer in terms of the woo-woo stuff. I'm a massive advocate and believer of manifestations and trusting your intuition and asking your higher self for guidance and things like that. And Adam, as we were talking, was using all of the same things. I can't wait to share the interview with you guys, actually. Because there was so many similarities in our methodologies, in our view of the world and things like that. And it's just like, yes, I can't wait to share him with you. I'm just so grateful that he was so generous with his time. And for the other interviews, the interviewees that we've had confirmed that haven't got times booked yet, so I'll let you know what's happening after they've happened. But like the other interviewees, I really believe that people come into your life, into your world, into your experience when you're willing to be brave. The people who come through for the right reasons. The people who land in your eyeballs, the people who land in your ears, the people who land in your hearts and your souls, they're a beautiful, often a very beautiful mirror for you to see your own freaking brilliance. And so I'm just really excited. I'm so excited and incredibly grateful. So I don't know what will happen with these other people, but you know what? I decided, fuck it. What's the worst that happens? The worst that happens is they ignore me. The next worst thing that happens is they'll say, you know what, thanks, but no. The next worst thing that happens is they might say, what's in it for me? And I'm like, goodwill. I can promote you via my podcast and on my website and to my email list and to my social media and all of that. I can do that. But in terms of what's in it for you, it's a bit of a community service legacy piece, and I hope that works for you. And then the next worst thing is that they say thank you, but no. The best case scenario then is what if they say yes? And it made me think a little bit about sales, from a sales process perspective. If you're on the phone and you're talking to people who have expressed an interest in your stuff, you might sign up 3 people out of 10. Right? So you've got to go through those 7 no's, or the 7 people saying, thank you, but no, it's not, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the inclination, it's not my thing, it's not the right fit, whatever other reason they give you, 7 people to say no, to have 3 people say yes. You don't hang up after the first no and go, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. Right? You've got to keep going. And then the other thing, that it with online sales, for you to pick up 5 sales, you've got to have 100 people looking at your sales page, right? Do you lament and cry for the 80 people, 90 people that look at your sales page and don't buy? Yes, it's devastating because you're a freaking badass and everybody should learn from you. But you've got to go through and know that not everyone is going to say yes for whatever reason, and that's okay. It is not a reflection on you, right? It's just whatever's going on in their world, that's what happens. So that's it. You've got to be in the ring. You've got to be trying. Shan, so excited for you. Tell them you'll do backup dancing. Oh my gosh. That would be bad. I can't even say I'll do backup singing. I can do some, like, I'll be in the front row, like, cheering them on. I could totally do backup dancing. I can do really daggy dancing. I'm an excellent daggy dancer. I love it. So there you go, my friends. They're really the big points that I wanted to make today. If you're coming in, hey Amanda, if you're jumping in late, I think there's a lot of gold in this live today. I think the thing that you've got to all remember though is if you don't try, you never freaking know. And instead of playing out that worst case scenario in your head and being a scared little bitch like I was for 18 months, right? 18 months, you guys. You know, just get out there and try and see what happens and give it a whirl. I think you will find that you are very surprised and very excited at the result that comes because of it. So that's it. So what do you need to do? I think you all know the answer. Yes, you need to get out there. You need to go help some people. You need to have a whole ton of fun doing what it is that you're doing. Why? Because the world is ready for your brand of awesomeness. I can't wait to share these next round of interviewees with you. I can't wait to share this book with you. It's getting even more amazing than I could possibly have thought. It is called Into the Spotlight. I better finish editing it and writing it and getting it all done so I can share that with you as well. All right, my friends, have a really beautiful, awesome, and amazing day. I will speak with you tomorrow, if not before. Mwah! I love you. Bye-bye.